Sip, you did ask Marcus Satterfield this, and nobody really came clean. That was there ever a discussion to maybe give Jeff an opportunity last week?
Jeff Sims.
Our feel where we were sitting was like it had to be the ball. The wheels were maybe turning a little bit, but then Haarberg put together that big drive before halftime. Without that drive, though, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened there.
Yeah, Satterfield said they never considered the number 2. They didn't, or he said they didn't have the discussion. The discussion was with Heinrich, just to, what do we got to do to get you going, get you find some rhythm. So yeah, he said he didn't lose patience with Heinrich, and that's kind of in keeping with what Rule Matt said after the game, which is we got to work these young guys through the issues. Mm-hmm. So Heinrich, it wasn't like Heinrich was terrible the whole way. I mean, he had his moments. I still say when he turns the corner, it's trouble for the defense. I mean, when he's on a run, mm-hmm. And he hit that big pass play on the belly option play to Malachi, which was great pass, great throw. I mean, he made a great throw.
Yeah, and so I'm not surprised that they came out and said it, but you got to wonder like how close they were actually maybe just thinking it, like as a staff. Like they didn't have a formal conversation. Should we put in Jeff Sims? But
I wonder.
I mean, everybody else in that stadium was thinking it. I was thinking it. You were thinking it.
Yeah,
like it was to the point where the offense was not functioning, and they
Right.
were turning the ball over, dropping the ball. Like it was just a mess, a discombobulated mess.
It was pretty bad.
And so I don't care if you're playing, Iowa, Purdue, or anybody that's left on your schedule. If you operate like that offensively, more often than not, you're going to lose. They were fortunate that Northwestern did not capitalize more than they did, given all the opportunities they laid out on the table for the Wildcats.
Well, and they dropped 7 or 8, and there's no windows for Haarberg. I mean, there are a lot of tough throws he's got to make. I mean, Fedoni has like a guy draped on his back. I mean, he's not getting open. I mean, you just have to get it to him. But my fear, if they would go to Sims is going to have this mentality almost like to win the game on his, or, kind of win the job back, or, is he going to put a lot of pressure on himself to kind of try to win it all back in this one opportunity he gets. And then what does that do to Haarberg too? I mean, I think there's a lot of prongs to that discussion, because if it goes wrong, it could be a tough deal. But
yeah, it could be. It could be, seriously. I mean, and there's a bottom line to this discussion, and that is Haarberg is 4-1. No, I mean, they're 4-1 with Haarberg.
Let's hit running back here, because Emy Johnson played by far his most snaps, got his most carries by far in his career. I think we were all surprised. He took 33 reps at running back in terms of snaps to 11 for Fleeks and 11 for Grant. So 60% of the running back reps went to Emy Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's reliable. I mean, he's pretty reliable. I mean, he had to fumble against Illinois, but he's pretty reliable in pass protection. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't, there's not busts. He doesn't mess up plays. And he ran 12 times for 73 yards, which is 6.1 a carry, if I'm doing my math correctly. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he ran hard.
Yeah. Now, today, Tuesday, Satterfield would not say if he's the guy. That competition with Grant it continues, but it looks to me like Emy Johnson's the guy at this point, which is really surprising to me.
So if you go over the last 2 games, Emmett's started both of them, but they've both been much different as they played out, to where at Illinois, it was still Anthony Grant that got the lion's share of the workload by a pretty clear margin, even though Emy Johnson started. But then on Saturday, I mean, it was Emmett's show, where Anthony Grant was just a complementary piece to that. And so maybe that's a direction that they're trying to go with now going forward. And they're, creating that aura of competition to where you're not going to come out and say he's our guy, he's the clear number one, just to kind of keep things going and keep that intensity going. But I mean, you just look at the way things have been trending over the last 3 weeks. Anthony Grant is losing his grip on that number one job significantly, to where now you just got to wonder, like, how much of a factor he'll even be based off last week.
You wonder if he's not cutting as well and doing things as well because he's so worried about holding on the ball.
Could be. It looks like a confidence issue to me too. He's not running with as much confidence. You can see it. I don't know what to say about it. And sometimes it just takes a couple runs to get your confidence back. If he gets a big gain.
He had he had one nice run against Northwestern. I mean, like a 10, 11-yard type run. But no, I mean, nobody had any runs longer than that other than Haarberg.
No, they didn't. Yeah.
But with that running game, though, like that, I think we talk about all the issues with the offensive line and the passing game. Like that's where Nebraska is going to have to win against Purdue. And our friend Michael Severe had a really good stat. He said Purdue's defense has allowed 104 long plays, which are considered run plays of 10 or more yards. That's the second most in the Big Ten Conference with teams of 7 or more games. Nebraska has the most long rushing plays in the Big Ten, rushing plays with 43. So like those, when they do hit, Nebraska's popping them. And I think a lot of that's Heinrich Haarberg. And so you want to talk about this running game, like Haarberg with his issues passing the ball right now, they have to utilize him better as a runner. And he has to be more efficient in runner because that is the most dangerous weapon they have right now on that offense is Heinrich's running.
I do like that they'll have all week to get this offensive line ready. Like it's not like you're just scrambling on Thursday here.
Right.
Like
Good
Raiola and Rule and Satterfield have the whole week to get Prohaska, to get Evans Jenkins, Lutoski, who was once a starter, back out there and then get those guys ready. And those players will be locked in. The receiver position is what I'm more worried about right now. Just can they, what's realistic from this group? I mean, there isn't, I mean, can you find more big plays to Coleman down the field? But after that, what is it? Is it just underneath throws to Alex Bullock?
Well, what's Jaden Doss have? That's the big question because Billy Kemp is out and Jaden as a slot
multiple weeks with an MCL.
Yeah. And so Jaden Doss is the starter now. So what's he bring? I mean, is it possible he might give you a little more in some areas than Kemp? I think he gives you a little more explosion than Kemp. But Kemp's that savvy guy who's gonna run precise routes.
He gets open in zones.
And he runs well. Kemp runs well after the catch. He's tougher than hell. Can Doss do those sorts of things? How comfortable is Doss with all of the offense? It's hard to say.
That's what he did in high school, though. I mean, he was that kind of gadget Debo Samuel type guy.
Ooh, that'd be good.
That you can utilize as a runner. You can put him in different spots on the field at receiver. So I think the ideal picture of him fits what they are going to need him to do to a T. But to your point, how ready is he to take on that responsibility as the sole number one at the slot position?
And then Jalen Lloyd and Ty Hahn, and I don't know if there's a sixth guy. I mean, I don't know who would be. Is there a sixth? It's they
just moved a couple guys over to defensive back that you would be in that conversation. So just like a Bryce Turner move back over or what? Like they don't have any bodies.
I think after the Michigan State game or around that time, that's when you'll see them begin to play more fresh. Like Sam Sledge and Gatula, those guys are probably going to play 4 games. So it'll be late. We might see those guys kind of split a game here for extra point teams and other things like that. But Rule, I really like how they manage and play with the 4-game rule. It is by far the best we've seen a coach do it in Nebraska, where like there is a plan to maximize the 4 games on this roster.
A couple of the things. Now you hope Coleman maybe catches fire a little bit because he caught that long pass. Sometimes that can be a spark. A 44-yard touchdown pass could do wonders. I don't want to say he wasn't confident, but it would help. And if he was confident already, it would just further bolster it. I don't want to say he wasn't confident. I don't know, but that could really help. You got to get a little more from. I mean, Fedoni, you're right, Sean. I still say he can get open. I mean, you're a Chiefs fan. Kelsey gets open all the time. I think he has I think there's a lot of attention on Kelsey, right?
Oh yeah.
He's also talking about like the greatest tight end in rifle history. Like
it's cheesy there, Lamar, Jeff, Sims, Jackson over here.
Thomas is a good player, but let's lower the bar a little bit.
I wasn't suggesting that he's as good as Kelsey or should match him, but you can get open.
And you're not familiar. Sipple said earlier this year.
We don't need to recap that.
I'm
going to wear a Lamar Jackson.
It's time stamped that Jeff Sims is a better thrower than Lamar Jackson. And Robin and I doubled down and even said, "Are you sure about that?" And
I'm going to bring up some of the things you said here pretty quick.
Okay.